So am I looking in this camera? We're going live.
Yes.
Okay, let me know when.
And we're on.
Hello, everyone. It's me, Richard Horvitz, and welcome to the inaugural launch of the new Streamly Live channel here on YouTube. I am delighted today to be asked to host this ongoing conversation for Hell of a Boss Palooza weekend with the cast. And if you joined us yesterday on Vizzy's YouTube channel, then a lot of your questions were answered. So bye, everyone. That's it for today. No, I'm just kidding. So what we're gonna do is I've got some questions planned for this amazing cast. Plus, we have some amazing guest cast members that you have not gotten to meet as of yet, and so we are excited to introduce all of them. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go around and we're gonna have everyone introduce themselves. And I would be remiss if we didn't start with the show creators themselves, Vivian Medrano and Brandon Rogers, of which assembled not only an amazing cast, if I do say so myself, but an amazing show that has really tapped into something very special. So without further ado, I will first introduce you to Vivian Medrano. Vivian, tell us a little bit about yourself and your excitement about having us all together.
Hi, I'm Vivian. I'm the creator of the show, and I'm honored. I'm every single time I get to be with you guys as the cast, especially for those of you who don't know, we so far have recorded the cast entirely over Zoom and over digital. So it's always a delight to get to be in a virtual room with everyone. Hopefully soon to be an actual room. But about me, I created Hell of a Boss. I've also created a show called Has Been Hotel. And I've been kind of making my way of this R-rated raunchy adult comedy with
Wait, it's raunchy? It's raunchy? I did not know that. I did not know. I really
I say a lot of the F word.
I'm gonna have to watch this show.
We have a lot of
a lot of bad language.
Yeah, wow, good. I love it.
Don't let your grandmother watch.
Vivian, first let me say thank you for creating the show along with your cohort here and our dear friend Brandon Rogers. Hi, Brandon.
Oh, Viv's the driving force. I just tainted it up. What hell of a weekend?
Hell of a
hell of a something.
Yeah.
And I'm having a hell of a time here with you guys again. I feel like this is one big slumber party.
It's kind of like Lilith Fair for hell.
Oh yeah. Yes, I feel very hellacious right now being here. I'm very, very happy. Thank you for hosting this, Richard. I am very excited to be at your mercy today.
Oh, and you will be. I get to be in charge, Blitz.
Oh my goodness! Oh, fuck me.
Yes. So those are our amazing show creators, and we will have some specific questions for them shortly while we continue. And we do have surprise guests. One of them's near me right now. And so we're going to continue with my friend and co-star and love interest and wife on the show, Vivian Nixon. Vivian, say hello to everyone, please.
Hello, everyone. My name is Vivian Nixon. I play Millie. Rice and beans is a staple food of mine. No. Happy to be here.
Do you like long walks on the beach?
I like long walks on the beach. I like sleeping, but I don't get to do that. You know that as a father, and as Bryce is a father, and and James is a father. But I'm happy to be here. This is so cool. Thank you for hosting us, Richard.
My pleasure. My pleasure. I'm so excited about this. Welcome back. We're going to continue our conversation from yesterday, and also we have Mr. Bryce Pinkham. Bryce, please take a bow.
Happy to.
Thank you, Bryce.
Hi, everybody. I'm Bryce. I'm the voice of Stolas on the show, and happy to be here with everybody again. And so grateful to this fan base for giving us a reason to gather and talk about the show and what we all love to do for a living. So thank you for having us. Thank you for those of you who are here to join us, and excited to be grilled by Richard today.
Oh, and you will be. You'll be flambéed as well. And now we're very excited today because those of you who have participated in our live streams before have had a chance to ask a lot of questions and meet some of the main cast. And now you're getting to meet some surprise guests that you have heard. And I'm going to see if you can guess who they play. And if my friends that I'm about to introduce could just do their voice before they introduce themselves, then you will know. And so I will start with my friend right here.
Oh dear, this is so very intimidating. Oh boy, lots of people here looking at me.
That's so Caleb to me. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm Jacob LeBron. I play little Colin here. I've also got Cletus and Keeney over here,
Oh.
but I keep Colin close to my heart. And it's been really nice playing this little sweet little chair boy, even though I myself am not so sweet. And it's nice to be here amongst all of you here. Thank you.
Yay, thank you. And now our next surprise guest will only be a voice, Georgie.
I don't bloody know what to say!
It's that one. No, it's not that one. I don't care. Kill him.
I know. I think I've tormented this one now.
So Georgie, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh God, I never know what to say about myself. There's too many. Do you have all afternoon? I don't know.
We really have
I'm
an
Georgie,
afternoon.
and I'm here in Brandon's lovely bedroom. Yes, it's a delight to be here.
We're in hell, as you
We
can
are,
see.
as you can see, burning in hell.
Yes.
And yeah, and I'm just so honored to be part of
Uh-oh.
this amazing
You wrote it.
cast and to be with you guys and to be a surprise guest.
Yay. And certainly, last but not least, James, please give us a little taste of your character.
know exactly what are you worried about, girl? I mean, I'm fine. What you really need to do is just relax a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
James,
Hold on, let me.
I'm happy to have you here with us, and I'm swooning.
I know. I need to grab a mop and a bucket.
Hi guys, I'm James Monroe Iglehart, and I got the lucky and amazing privilege to play Vortex. That was so much fun, and I'm just glad to be here. I mean, you guys, you'll hear a little bit about the history, I'm assuming, but I met Viv back in the day. So back when she was like saying, I'm going to be an animator. And I was like, yes,
Yeah.
you should. And when you get a job, give me one. And it all worked out. So I'm mad happy that, all I'll say is this: if you meet somebody who has a dream, please support them. You never know when they might come back and give you a job. So just be nice. Don't be an ass. Come back to bite
Yeah.
the trust.
And that is one of the questions I'm glad you touched on, James, is that Vivian, who is a huge supporter of theater and musical theater in particular, and loves to hang out at the stage door to solicit people to be in her show. This is what drew me to this show, is that when it was pitched to me that it was going to be, basically a musical animated show, that is my first and foremost love. And what I love about it the most right now is that we all know what a huge hit Broadway and all theater took because of this pandemic. And so for all my friends, I was so grateful to Vivian that through this pandemic, we were able to, try to help people out during this rough time, because I have so many friends in theater that are just like, oh, it has to come back soon. It has to come back soon. So for that, Vivian, thank you. Now, I would like to touch on, while we're spotlighting our surprise guests, Vivian, how do you pitch this show to prospective guest stars that you want? And is there ever any anxiety about talking about our subject matter or anything like that when you don't know, say, the actors personally or their representatives personally?
Oh man. Okay, there's multiple answers to this kind of, because so I used to, and there's some people that I would ask, like I believe like James, like I think I asked you directly because we were already in contact. I was like, hey, I have this show and like I'd love for you to be a voice. And you were like, oh my God, yes. And we that was smooth sailing. In the past, I have, I've always been somebody that, like, my personal mantra with casting or with reaching out to even artists, like artists and cast and everything is just, why not just ask? The worst it can be is a no. If someone's busy or if someone can't do it or if someone it's not quite the show for them or anything like that, it's like you won't know until you ask. So that's always been the attitude I've had. But I will say, for Helluva, I do go through casting primarily, and I don't know how they approach people. I assume it's very professionally because most people that we reach out to do the show, which is amazing. We've had a few people say no, but it's usually for scheduling. It's usually like, no, like I'm shooting something or I'm doing something or I'm completely booked out. So to answer, I'm not sure, but I will say I used to until I emailed someone, I will not say who, whose rep was like, they actually are kind of mutual friends with a lot of people, but they are kind of a very well-known voice. And I got in contact with their manager directly, and I sent them everything and was like, this is the character. I made a specialized deck. Like I went, this is the show. Like this is this is all that. And the response was, okay, come back when it's happening. And I went, okay. And so then fast forward to when we were casting and we were getting ready to record, and I went, okay, it's happening. Do you want to schedule? Is there any, do you want me to put in touch with casting? They were, oh no, like come back when it's like a real show, like on Netflix or something. And I was like, okay. So from that point on, I went, I think I'm going to let casting do its job, because I think part of it was, like sending YouTube links and artwork and stuff. And I think they thought, oh, is this some fan thing? Is this some, so to answer you.
You can say it was Mel Blanc, right?
Yes, it was.
He's really hard. He's really hard to get a hold. He's really hard to get a hold of these days.
What is this, YouTube? What is YouTube?
Yeah. But my father used to be that dad that used to say, I'm having trouble. What is the YouTube? That was, before he
I do
passed
think,
on.
in their defense, I do think, it's a new world, like animated shows on YouTube, on a place like YouTube, which is known for, like just a different type of content than animated shows. So I think there's a little bit of like that can be a thing that's lucrative. And so this show's kind of breaking that ground a little bit in that sense.
Right.
So
A little bit.
to be fair to them,
To that end, I'd like to go and ask each of our voice cast members, did you have any hesitancy or worry about when you read the original scripts? Because, when I first got the script, I was like, okay, I'm going to say fuck. All right. I haven't been able to say that in, on network TV. So I give it a shot. Let's start with you, Vivian. Was there any tentativeness or anxiety about it?
Yes, there was, because I originally auditioned with the Lululand script, and I was cast as Keenie. And so she was a cherub, and I was like, oh, this is great. I'm a cherub. My kids could potentially see something I'm doing. And then I got recast as Millie.
Yes.
Which, thank you, has been the dream. But I was like, holy shit, this is mortifying. I'm an assassin. I cuss. I'm having sex on chandeliers. It was a little stressful for me. It was.
Well, we kind of were. Animated.
I mean, we were.
You guys need to work out what you consider chandelier fun.
Yeah. No, there was. I was.
You know how it is. You know how it is when you're working, people. Just you have to schedule whatever time you can get.
Right. But yeah, there was some hesitancy, and I came around. I mean, I was talking this on my IG. I was talking about this on my IG yesterday, and I was just like, there are many facets to us, and so I just put my little advisory notice to my students, like adult content, So
Yeah. Wait, there's adult content in this?
is there?
Did not know that.
It's a little.
That's new.
How about you, Jaden? Jaden, what was your first? You knew Vivian before, right?
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about how you met Vivian and how you feel about the subject matter and the stuff that we deal with.
Well, our mutual friend between, I guess, many of us here, Maxwell Adams, was doing a puppet movie, and I was building a lot of the puppets and performing it as well. And I actually built this massive puppet that you were going to voice,
Yes.
Waka Waka.
Yes.
And, he's a huge puppet throughout my back. And I happened to be working on that one as a puppeteer as well. And I didn't know at the time that she was the mastermind behind Has Been and Helluva. And then I found out about it and just sort of casually asked, hey, if you guys need extra voices, I'd love to. And I got to see it on, I think it was Halloween when they first did the hotel one. And I loved it, and I wanted to see more and do more. And lo and behold, last year I was asked to do Colin, the cherub, and it's been wonderful.
Just give us a little more Colin. I love Colin.
Oh, you want more of me? Love.
He's our sweet cherub that we love to hurt.
And he is, I do believe he's the only one that has a score on the show. And that's interesting. So there's no hesitancy towards that since he's a bit of a saint there. But as far as telling my parents and my family about it, they're like, what is it called? Hell of a what? What of a boss? What? And I give them the rundown of what I'm going to be doing, what's happening to my little character and the subject matter. And one of the ones that I did was, I think it's cut now, but there was this morbidly obese slob that was having sex on
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I missed.
The scene didn't.
Yeah.
And I told my mom that I was doing that, and she said, "What the hell are you doing?" And so
I believe that was in the Loopty episode, right?
Yeah.
Was that?
That was in the cherub one. It was cut for time, but yeah, that was gonna be really interesting.
Yeah. I have no problem doing nasty, grotesque, horrible things with characters.
You wouldn't be in this business if you did.
That's right. It doesn't bother me at all, and I love it, and it's fun, and I'm glad I get to do it.
Good. Excellent. Georgie. Now, Georgie, you knew Brandon before we all met, correct?
Yeah, well, actually, when I first not even moved to LA, when I first came to LA to check it out, Brandon was one of the first people that I met. So, and we both have moved here at the same
right around the same time.
So yeah, it's been. God,
been,
we're old now.
a decade.
It's been nearly a decade of us knowing each other. Yeah.
We met doing it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you want to say it?
No, you go.
We were doing a hidden camera show that never went
hilarious.
anywhere. We never saw it again. But we went into an Apple store and with a comforter and 2 pillows and had to basically make our bed.
He literally put the pillow and the duvet on the floor,
right in the middle of the Apple store at the Grove.
Yeah. And he lay down and went to sleep. And Andrew Back was my boyfriend
King Batch.
Kim Batch was my boyfriend in it, and he starts yelling at Brandon like, "Yo, what the fuck are you doing?" And I'm like,
"Whoa, my man, she wanted it."
And I lie down and cuddle him on the at the Apple store. We got chased out by security.
And then all the shoppers were clapping.
They applauded us.
Yeah.
They applauded us in the end. So yeah, we worked together on that, the show that didn't
And then
the
we
show
would
that
go-
was never
we went
was.
we went to an elevator and farted with families.
Yeah.
There were families in the elevator at the Grove, and we were farting, and then we point at their kids and look.
Right. And then the people in the elevator would go, wait a minute, that is not a British fart. You're not really British.
That was far too aggressive to be British, for goodness sake. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, we've been friends for nearly 10 years. So
Yeah. Yeah, very, very long time. And it goes by so fast. I barely know her.
Okay. We still don't know each other. But it was right before the pandemic, right before the world ended. The last night that I went out, we went to see a live performance, and Vivian and I were sitting there, and she was like, I don't really drink that much, but when I do drink, I have a Long Island. And I was like, I love her.
She's the most interesting woman in the world.
She's amazing. I love her. And then I remember
That was
vaguely.
that was probably one of the most fun nights. of
Yeah,
fun.
it was amazing. And I remember vaguely that Vivian said, I love your voice. And
That's
then
right.
fast forward, I get to play Stella, and I rarely get to play such angry
Mhm.
people, and I'm loving it. So
You're very good at it.
I'm
and it
very
scared
good
me.
at being angry.
And having directed you, you really tap into that anger very easily.
I don't know where it comes from. I'm so British and so polite.
I know.
I don't know.
So then I
So
take
natural.
it that the subject matter and the scripts never were daunting to you, or you weren't tentative in any way.
No, I don't know. I'm a yes woman. I say yes to everything. But no, I was so honored that Vivian asked me. I don't even think I read anything before saying yes. I was like, yeah, whatever, yeah.
Yes.
Whatever you say, I want to work with you. Yes. So I don't think I ever even had a second. And there was no thought in my brain that was questioning anything. I just wanted. I love being in the presence of you all. So.
Oh. Excellent. And we're very lucky to have you. And now going to James. Poor James. Every time James or Bryce are on the show, I insist that they sing with me. And James and I have a mutual love for Jesus Christ Superstar,
Very true.
which we are planning to get together once this pandemic ends and just sing the entire score from top to bottom.
I'm with it.
Mind is
I
clear.
want to be there.
That's gonna be
It's-
good. It's gonna be
I know,
fun.
me too. Yeah.
Easter around my house, everyone leaves because play and get out!
Right. Like we just got here. Why y'all telling us to get
Right.
out?
You sad pathetic man. See
Just
where
put
you
the potato
brought us
salad
to.
down. You know?
Yeah. That's what they say to me, you sad pathetic man. See where you brought us to, which is what everyone's saying in this cast right now. Now,
No,
yes,
it's a
so
great score.
James, tell us a little bit about how we got a little bit of a peek from Vivian when she said that she was a stage door groupie that was such a fan of yours. Tell us your reaction when you got the script, and I know that you had spoken to Vivian about it long before we even went into production.
Well, the fun thing about it is Viv and I have been in contact about just her career in general, just like where she was going, the trajectory of what she was doing. And so I'll fast forward to when she got to Hasbin Hotel. She called me and she said, there's a quick little something I want you to do. And she was so sweet about it because we're friends. And, at the time, at the time it was like 2014, 15. So I was hot shit on Broadway right now. So she was like, I know you're used to doing longer stuff, but I got one sentence for you to do. And so I walked in and did like this one sentence for like this like T-Rex like character. And I was so excited that I got to do it. I did it on my phone, sent it in, it was there, it looked great. I was like, cool. But
it was
she had been
sneaky.
explaining
Like
it.
we were being sneaky because
Yeah.
that project
We
was very
were-
low budget.
I kind of knew what was happening. And the fun thing about my career was I was still working for Disney. So anything I did that was a little bit off kilter, if I had to do a voiceover for it, I would write a different name. Just so, Disney wouldn't go, hey, what are you doing? But the fun part is by the time we got to Hell of a Boss, I wasn't working for Disney anymore. So, and my wife knows me. my mother hates this, because we're Christian folks. The one thing you ain't supposed to do is lie and cuss, and nobody cares if Christians lie, but if you cuss, oh Lord, you're going to hell. Like you can fornicate all you want, but don't cuss in front of your mama. The world will end. And so I was like, I couldn't wait to cuss on the microphone. So I was like, yeah, sure. So what I got to say, what? Cool. I told my wife, I said, I'm saying this. I called my mother and said, before you say jack, this is an adult show. So if you make the mistake of turning this on YouTube in the class you teach in, I'm not responsible. This is not the show to play for the people in the choir stand at choir rehearsal on a Wednesday night at the church. Play this at home. So I warned everybody. So when I got that first script, I was like, cool. And actually, Vortex's first scene was pretty smooth. I mean, the great part about it was his scenes were pretty smooth. Now, the story around it, I mean, there's a succubus and they have to decide who to kill and who to have sex with. That part, it made me look like an angel, but there's some other surprises coming in the next couple of things that I may be doing that I told my mom. I said, look, I'm an adult, I'm married, I'm damn near 50, I pay taxes and own a home. I don't want to hear nothing. I'm enjoying myself, don't say nothing. So it really wasn't a thing. It was more of like, I just wanted to bring as much authenticity to the role. I didn't want it to seem forced. I wanted to sound like the characters. I didn't want it to seem like, oh, look, James Iglehart is cussing. I wanted to be the character. And as long as it was that, then it would work. But as words are words. I mean, words have power, but it all depends on how you approach them. And you can't stop somebody from getting offended by something. People just, especially nowadays, people just like to get offended. So if you're offended, don't watch the damn show.
Right. I don't know if you know this, James, but before we were about to record you, I had a very serious conversation with Vivian about our voices sounding too similar. If people were going to be able to tell the difference between Moxie and Vortex, because
the thing about it, Richard, is what you have to understand is I've been a fan of yours. I mean, for those who are watching, if you don't know, Richard's a goddamn legend. I mean, Richard's been on, he's Zim. He is also a Billy and Mandy, and I based my entire career on you. I mean, I won the Tony deliberately. I was doing Genie, and I looked at Aladdin. I looked at Aladdin, and I said, Aladdin, I am free, and now destroy us all, destroy us all, destroy us all. And man, they was like, give that Negro to Tony. That's the one. That's the brother. And Richard, if it wasn't for you, man, I don't know where I'd be. So, but I did tell Viv I would calm it down. I got my bass on so I wouldn't sound like you. I did my best. But if they get us mixed up,
James, let's do this. You and I trade houses. You take mine, I'll take yours. I'll do Hamilton for a couple of months.
And you see, come on, everybody on this stream knows they can see that. Just the lights turn on, purple jacket, and just Richard, and it's like, what I miss, what I miss. People like, lose their freaking mind.
What I miss.
It's over.
Well, I do have this dream that I've kind of started to work out, where it's Invader Zim doing Hamilton, and I'm trying to rhyme it, but I don't have Lynn's genius. But it's like, how does a smirk and Irkin? That's what I got. Is a smirk and Irkin.
I rap with him, right? You need some,
yes.
We'll talk. Well, let's discuss, because this will be fun.
I want Gurr to go, what's your name? Invader Zim. Invader Zim.
Folks, please, that would hit so hard. Folks would love that shit. They would love that.
Because that's my next question after I go to my friend Bryce here, who, if everyone notices, is a living painting. Go ahead, look at this. Am I right? He is just a beautiful, beautiful man. Is he not? He just very Stolas-esque. So Bryce, the question to you,
yes,
as it was the other, is how did you first react when you got the script and the subject matter and the language? And of course, as Stolas, you get to do more of that than any of us.
Yeah. Well, to be perfectly honest, I was contacted, I think through social media. Somebody reached out and said, hey, if your agents haven't gotten this to you yet, this is coming your way, and the creator is a fan of yours and would love for you to read for this. And so this was in the middle of the shutdown, so I was, in my basement looking for jobs, and so I was thrilled to have the opportunity to audition for anything. And then when I looked through the audition, one of the sort of like prompts that was given for Stolas was a character that I originated, and a song that I sang. So I sort of went, oh, that's good. I think I know what half of this is. So I just got excited by that, and then sent off a tape. But I don't think, if I remember correctly, the audition tape had too much, salacious material in it. And
we like to spring that on people.
Yeah. So I think I got the job, which I was thrilled with, because we had just had our second baby and Daddy needed some work, and we had decided to rent our house and drive our two babies across the country to my parents' house. We were going to live for 9 months to save money and the whole thing. And so I recorded this I recorded season 1 right before leaving. And so there was so much going on that, I was reading these scripts maybe a few days before I recorded, and we had already set up the times. And I remember being like, oh. And when we recorded it, and I had so much fun. And then when we got to my parents, they were asking me, so what is this job? What's the voiceover job? And I was like, okay. So it's
they weren't with James's mom, were they?
No, but they're probably in the same camp. I was like, okay, so I play a prince. I'm an owl, and I'm in hell. So I'm an owl prince in hell, and I'm cheating on my wife with an imp.
You're just a basic owl meets imp meets.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and they were like, what was that last part? And I said, don't worry about it. In fact, I don't think this one's for you or grandmother. Let's keep her far away from this one. But no, it's I think, as James said, like getting the chance to do that when most of the material that we do on Broadway, especially musical theater on Broadway, is for a broad audience, for a younger audience. And so, yeah, with just a few disclaimers for those people who want to know what I'm up to, after that, I feel like so much freedom and enjoyment in getting to be a little nasty and getting to say all the words we never get to say. And gosh, I just really felt like a great freedom to explore that side of the artistry. And frankly, I've been dying to do cartoon work my entire career. And so this was an opportunity. I was thrilled to get the chance to voice something, and I've had such a good time. So yeah, I was apprehensive, but then super excited.
Good. Nice to have you. Now, speaking of getting nasty and feeling comfortable with these words, we go to my friend Brandon, who is... Who
well,
is
I tell you, when I got the script
is an artist when it comes. He is an artist when it comes to coming up with putting the most amazing swear words together in ways that I never would have even dreamed of. And while Vivian and I are watching him, I will look over at Vivian, and often we will both be like this.
Yes.
Right? Wow. I never put those
laughter.
Two actions together, but he came up with that, and like, wow. Let's get into that mind, Brandon. So as a co-creator of this show,
yeah,
you bring a huge part of this show and yourself to it that is amazing, not only as a writer and a creator, but also as one of the lead voice on the show. I'm gathering from the videos that I've seen, your videos on YouTube, which are in the millions of views. Do you ever have any kind of anxiety or tentativeness about any of our subject matter, anything that we deal with?
Yeah, I think I don't know. I do think that it can be a fine science to write profanity. It can become too extreme very quickly. Even just the alliteration or the hearing like two fucks too close to each other in a sentence, like, okay, it's a little too many fucks. I mean, really, it comes down to, like, we'll be in a studio and it's like, oh, let's replace ass with something else because we said ass twice, or we
are that meticulous about it. It's true.
Yeah.
Or if you're trying to make the word hit harder, maybe take out a few swears leading up to it so then it punches hard. I mean, there is a method to the madness. I was raised very strict Catholic. I understood very early in life the importance and gravity of propriety and manners. And I think, you know, one of my biggest heroes, if not my ultimate hero, John Waters, was raised the same way. And I've read nearly all of his books, and he talks about the same thing. He was raised very, 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 you know, in a proper household.
Yes.
And I think that when you understand what is taboo, what really shatters the social norm, and then it becomes a fun weapon. And I don't know, I think that when people look at animation, it's even today, even with, you know, South Park and all these other things, animation still has a reputation of being for children. And even more so, crude animation has a reputation for being two-dimensional. And so I was drawn to the project because I can offer, you know, crude comedy, but then Vivian can offer this whimsical, otherworldly, deep, soulful, sad, rich environment. And I don't think that they're two genres you see melded together very often. Like we were talking yesterday, you expect animation and a comedy, certainly both, to not get very deep. And it's fun to let this series, if it feels like getting sad, if it feels like becoming scary, or you know, a tearjerker, it's not afraid to go in whatever direction,
Yes.
to whatever extent. Yeah.
I think this is one of the questions that we have, and I think why it's such a perfect marriage between your vision and Vivian's vision, is that we have these conversations often before we do a record, where Vivian will be the first to admit that we can be dangerously close to going melodramatic, and she and I both don't want it to be melodramatic, and that's why when we do the scenes with that are more serious, like the scenes we've done with Bryce or any of us, we are painfully aware of that. No, the words alone tell the story, and that we don't have to infuse them with too much melodrama for it to really just hit hard. And I think that having directed all of you, you've all experienced those moments. We've taken painstakingly a lot of time on scenes that we just want to feel real and authentic and genuine, like Bryce was saying, authentic, which is really a big word for us. Great, well, thank you all for that. Now, I'm moving on to something else. I told you I was gonna ask some personal questions, and this is not that personal. So relax, everyone keep calm. I am a fanboy because I am a huge musical theater person, anyone who knows me. And I started out in musical theater. I started out in musical theater at 10 years old. I got my equity card at 12. And I was the happiest day of my life was when I got that card, and it said on it, singer, dancer. And that to me, like I still get goosebumps just remembering it, because of everything that I've done, nothing was ever more magical. When I was 13, I was in Oliver, and I got to perform with Dick Shawn and Stubby Kaye and Shani Wallace and Anna White. And I stepped out onto that stage in an equity house. And as a kid, I'm like, this is what I want to spend my life doing. And I was only, 13. I said, this is what I'm gonna do. My plan was to go to New York, do Broadway, be in the theater community for the rest of my life, and, retire as Joel Grey. It didn't happen because I was in LA and I was doing commercials and TV and film. And as you know, if you have an agent in Hollywood, they don't want you to go to New York and commit to a play for, 8 months to a year to 15 months or whatever. So I never made it. And so that brought up this question for me last night as I was thinking about this. When you were growing up, before you knew the path your lives would take, what did you want to be when you were a kid? For me, I wanted to be a race car driver more than anything. I just wanted to be a race car driver. and that was it. And then around 5 years old, I saw Tom Jones from England and Flip Wilson and Don Adams and Get Smart. Those are my three major influences, and that was it. I knew from the time I was 5 on, but up until 5, I was going to be a race car driver. So I'd like to go around and ask each one of you what you wanted to be, if it isn't what you are now. And let's go back around. Let's start with Georgie. Georgie.
Oh my goodness. I wanted to be a ballerina. And I my turnout, my hips are so tight, my turnout's so bad that like I'm more like turned in. So there was like my body was not built to be a ballerina, but like yeah, I think I was born wanting to.
See, now that's too easy of a line. You can say someone needs to turn you out, but that's a horrible thing. That's something that would be in this show.
Someone does, it's true. Any volunteers?
And so did you pursue the ballerina life at all?
Well, yeah, like I'm also a musical theatre kid and a musical theatre degree and everything. So yeah, I still, but my first job was when I was 5 years old. I was in an opera. I was on stage. So yeah, so I've still led a life of entertainment and on stage.
Is that where you developed your fake British accent?
Yeah, exactly. That's true. I was like, I can't be a ballerina, so I'm going to be British. That's one or the other.
Brandon, how about you?
I wanted to be a scientist. Not of any particular science. I wanted to be in the coat with the microscopes and the test tubes. And I thought it was a very cool aesthetic to walk into a sterile environment and to have to be the brink of the societal precipice of the future of the whatever. And then I learned there was math and all this other shit. You have to pick a version of whichever science. You can't just be a scientist. You have to pick a kind of a science. And then I'm like, and then I found out how long it takes to get the degree. I'm like, I will not want that dream by the time I get the degree. So then, so then I just did this.
Here you are.
How about Vivzie Pop?
Me? I wanted to go into something with animals or paleontology. I've always been a huge animal fanatic. I always wanted all the pets growing up. Wasn't allowed to have very many. We had cats and we had a dog, and I was allowed fish. But I love animals. I love how they move. I love how they how varied they are. It's always been something. I still love to go to the zoo. The best day to me is going to the zoo or going into nature. I was a very outdoorsy kid. And then I've also been a huge dino nerd. So it's also paleontology would also be cool. I was just all into that when I was really young. And it wasn't until watching movies like The Lion King and Bambi when I was a really little kid that I watched them and I went, they move like animal, they move like the real animal does, but they have these really exaggerated expressions and there's songs, and I was like, what's that? I immediately was like, wait a minute, there's a way to harness that that passion about animals and how they move and they express, but express it in this very cartoon, because I was also a big, cartoon. I grew up with cartoons and watching them, and it was a pretty immediate switch. And having ADD as a young child, I would also be constantly drawing, and I would get in trouble for it almost constantly. And it was kind of a perfect, once I knew that animation was a thing and that cartooning was a thing and you could have characters that are animals and things like that, I was like, oh, that immediately. Yeah. And I was pretty young. I was 5.
That's what's amazing, what you were talking about, the movement of animals. That's what blew me away about Lion King. Lion King. Yeah. Oh my God. And the other one, the one with the horse that Steven Spielberg made the movie out of. What was that one with the
animated?
Spirit? Is that the one with the horse?
Yes.
On
James Baxter. Oh. Master of animation, James Baxter. It's majestic.
It's majestic. How about you, my friend?
Well, I'm happy to say that much of my life has been fairly consistent. I always wanted to do something with cartoons, and I wanted to be a cartoonist at first and create my own characters. I was also very much, and still am very much, into puppetry, and get to do that every now and then. When I was, ever since I could remember, I was always doing voices, much to the dismay of my teachers and parents and everyone else. And I don't think I've ever really answered the phone in my normal voice. You know, it's always hello, hello, hello. And you know, when I get asked a question in school, I'd answer in a different voice or something, or I would even mimic my family members. So when they say, "Hey, can you come over here?" and I'll say, "Yeah, I'm right over here," and just annoy them. Um, it's always sort of been in my nature to sort of create different voices and different characters and see exactly how much I could play with that. Um, I really wanted to be a Muppet performer for a long time, but that's sort of an elitist kind of thing in a positive way. They sort of keep it very closed off, and they aren't necessarily putting up help wanted signs outside the studios. But actually, I get to create my own puppet characters. The Sneeple on YouTube is what I do, and I like to do. I usually do most of the voices in my work, or if not, about 90% of them. And it's just been nice to do different characters in my life, and it's always been really fun.
That's good. Oh, I just got a text.
Mm.
Who is it? It's James's mom. James, we have to talk.
Mama, this has happened several times. Don't text or write something in the line with the people. We will talk at home. I'm working right now. I will call you later. It's always in there just writing stuff. Stop looking at Bryce. I can see you, Mom. Just,
yeah, I know.
Hey.
Everyone's
Hey.
looking at Bryce. See, everyone is. Do you plan that? Just be honest. Do you have you practiced? You have practiced your
No. No, I definitely haven't.
How about you, James? What did you want to be when you were the smallest that you can remember? When you were the littlest kid you can remember?
Honestly, whatever would put me in front of people. I had my first solo in church when I was 4 years old, and once I heard the applause, that was it. It was over. I was like, I don't know whatever creates this, it's over. And it was like this. My mom was a singer and my dad was an actor. So if you look up James Iglehart, you'll find two pictures. One of this really, really buff dude with a big afro, light-skinned brother. That's my dad. And then me. So those are the two James Iglehart you'll find on Google. And my dad was in films and my mom sang all the time. So that's what I had in the house. And that's what I loved. And it was an entertainment love completely. It was Disney cartoons, Warner Brothers cartoons, Hanna-Barbera cartoons. It was Broadway, it was movies, it was television, it was dance, it was anything. It was Michael Jackson, it was Prince, it was Debbie Allen. To watch a movie with her in it, to watch Fame, to watch her choreograph Polly, anything with dancing in it and Black people, I was like, I must be a part of that. And anything that would make me get on stage and people go, you're so amazing, I wanted to do it. So the fact that my career has done all of this, that's from the time I could breathe, I was like, if I'm in front of people acting a complete idiot and y'all gonna pay me, yes, that's it. I had one moment in my life where I was like, I'm gonna do something else Black, and Vivian understands, I'm gonna do something else Black. I'm gonna play basketball, and realize that wasn't my ministry. And those of you guys understand what that is. In a church, you have different ministries. You're either on the usher board or in the choir, or you teach. And everybody wants to be in the choir, but everybody can't sing. So everybody can't play ball. I wanted to play ball, but I just did not have that skill set. So I went back to what I knew, and thank the Lord, it all worked out.
You could not have given a better introduction or segue to Vivian Nixon. Vivian, I think he hit on your two careers right there that you were raised by. So let's talk a little bit about your dreams as a very, very young child. And were you encouraged in the arts, obviously, I'm assuming?
Oh, it's really funny. I'm completely opposite of James. Like, I wanted to be a veterinarian. I've always connected with animals and babies. And I don't know if I'm shy or reserved or what it is, but I'm not somebody who wants to be seen. I mean, literally, I love voiceover so much because I can be the gamut and nobody has to look at me and I can be in my own little bubble. And that's kind of like me in a nutshell. So
tell us all who your parents are, if you don't mind me saying, because I.
yeah, sure. My mother is Debbie Allen, extraordinaire dancer, choreographer, actor, director, producer, mama, like everything. And my father is Norman Nixon, who's a NBA All-Star champion.
Who I saw play many times, so I've got chills again. Yes.
Yes. And we all do have a family business now. We run the Debbie Allen Dance Academy. My father is the CFO and my mother is the artistic director and I'm the associate artistic director. And I also run the little kids program. And
that's amazing. You know, I understand the when you have parents that are in the business and that are so you can see them everywhere.
Yeah.
Like my kids, for example, my oldest son he's pursuing being a director and a writer and a filmmaker. But my kids, I had a friend that used to say, they don't want to be in show business. I'm like, I know, right? But my oldest does, but my other two, my middle son is a computer brainiac, works for Google currently. And my youngest one wants to go into business management, sports business, sports management. And so I get that. Did that play into your life in any way? In like, I don't want to take the paths that my parents have taken.
I would say some choices I didn't have, right? Like I was in a bassinet under a piano when I was born.
Right.
I was in dance class. I was immersed in the arts. So, and my parents came from, my father's from Macon, Georgia, and my mother's from Houston, Texas. And they wanted to get out. My father wanted to get out. My mother wanted to be recognized for her talents, not for the color of her skin. And so they found success, and the success they found is, in my opinion, kind of like their, what would I say? How they compute success. So my mother found success. If you're a dancer, you're going to be successful. So that was kind of like her dream for me in a way. And even though I kind of had to do it, I did fall in love with it.
Good.
And as much as I do right now, I'm most at home when I'm in the dance studio. Yeah. It's my favorite place. So.
It's a beautiful place. I'm a tap dancer. I'm a diehard tap dancer from the time I was 6 years old, because that's when I discovered I want to do it. My parents go, okay. You know, I'm a kid in Van Nuys, California, and it's not like there were a lot of tap dance schools, but we found one called B&B Dance Studio. I'll never forget it. My first teacher was Bill Bartlett, and for the next 6 years, I was the king of the time step and the soft shoe and the grab backs and the pullbacks, and I could tap. I was such a fan of I'm a Gene Kelly and a Gene Kelly, Donald O'Connor like disciple. I love there's so much physicality. Where I love Fred Astaire, you see like in Easter Parade, that was supposed to be Gene's movie, but Gene broke his ankle before they went to filming. And so Fred Astaire came out of retirement to do that. But you can tell in that first number where he's kicking the drum and doing that, Easter song at the opening, that was choreographed by Gene and Stanley Donen. So you could tell that was a dance, and Fred did it. And so I'm amazed. That's still a thing. But I tore my cartilage in my knee. And, I had all sorts of things that prevented me from ever doing a pullback or a grab off ever again, or a wing. And it's like broke my heart, because that's what I was gonna say that was gonna be. But enough about me. First of all, Vivian, thank you for sharing that. That's very personal And I told you I was going to get personal, and then I'll get your social security number afterwards. Bryce, what did young Bryce want to be? A little young Bryce. Take me back.
So,
a model. As a James said, a model.
yeah, so young Bryce in first grade, his parents are called into the parent-teacher conference, and the first grade teacher says, I need you to find your son an outlet for his, and I quote, reckless creativity, which was a diplomatic way of saying, find your son a stage other than my classroom. And so my parents, found me theater camps and things like that. And I sort of fell into that as a very serious hobby. And one of my earliest experiences in the child ensemble in The Music Man, my dad came in to speak to the director because I was going to have to miss some rehearsal for a family vacation that we had planned, and the director said, yeah, that's fine. Do you act? And my dad said, well, no, I don't really. I did a little bit in high school. He said, yeah, can you read this? And so my dad read the role of Charlie Cowell across from this director at a community college, and the next thing we knew, my dad and I were in the show together. So this was my first experience on stage. I got to experience the same thing James did, which was like, whoa, people clap for you up here and you feel amazing. And also, that's my dad. And so I think my dad wanted to do this, but thought better of it when he had a family and wanted to do other things. Both my parents also worked with animals. My mom worked in a veterinary hospital for 30 years. And so I caught the bug, but it was kind of a hobbyist bug. I took it seriously, but it was where I'd had my fun and where it was my outlet, my creative outlet. But I thought I wanted to be a veterinarian. My mom worked as a veterinarian technician. So one summer I went into the vet hospital and asked if I could, be an intern. And so sure enough, I was there shoveling cat shit, in the back. And then finally I said to my mom, I got to get in and see a surgery. Please, I want to be a vet. I want to get to know this. Tell me, I want to start studying, basically. So my mom was like, okay. So she brought me into the to surgery. I got all, scrubbed in or whatever. And I got my giant scrubs on. I'm sitting there with my mom, and this surgery is happening. She's like, if the door closes, you can't leave. And I said, yeah, no, we're good. And the door closes, and this doctor starts his thing. The animal goes to sleep, and I'm sitting there okay, Mom, what are we watching today? What is it we're watching? She goes, oh, it's a neuter.
Oh.
You should have just.
And I was like, what?
After my wedding, you could have witnessed that too.
I'm telling you, those scissors went snip, and I was like, nope, I'm done. Not being a vet. I'll be an actor now.
There's this comedian that does this whole routine that cracks me up about a dog waking up on the bed when it's been brought home after it's been neutered, and it's like, hey, where are my balls? I mean, I just took a nap and I'm sure they were there before I went to sleep.
Yeah, it was. Suffice it to say, it was pretty traumatizing, and I quickly left the idea of being a vet, and then later in college, I was sort of like, well, what do I love doing the most? And I had found myself at the theater every single day, every single night, and I was like, well, it's obviously this. Yeah. And so from then on, I kind of put my heart and soul into it, and here we are.
That is still my plan, to be honest with you, is that even if I'm a little bit old.
To get neutered.
No, I already did that after I had my third child.
Okay, good.
I was going to have a vasectomy, but all I did was get an ice cube and take 2 weeks of yoga, and then I just gnawed my own vasectomy. It was faster, easier. But my name is Invader Zim.
Somebody needs to put that in the show. That scenario that just happened needs to be put in the show. That's all I'm saying. I don't know. I don't. It needs to be Brandon. It needs to happen.
Just gnawing your own vasectomy.
Who's gonna be?
I skip 2 weeks. Just you wait, just you wait.
Will you sing less?
What's your name, man? Invade him. You know, I'm gonna have to come out to see you in that, James. I'm gonna make a special trip just to come see it out there. I'll just have to start saving up now and take a second out on my house to get a ticket, unless I knew someone in the show. But anyway.
I got to see James in the show as one of the final shows I saw before moving to LA, and I saw it with me and my mother. We went to go see it, and we, you know, that was at the height of, you know, everything, you know, like with Hamilton as well, and so like getting tickets was really hard, and we got all the way in the back of the balcony, you know, so it was like back row of the balcony, but it was amazing because we could see the turning stage like really well from up there. So I thought it was like mind blowing, but anyway, it was amazing to get to see you perform in that. It was,
oh my gosh,
incredible.
We have cat porn going on again.
I know my cat, I don't know if you guys have noticed, my cat is super camera friendly right now.
Yes, I see that.
I don't know what she wants.
Oh, look.
I would get
One-eyed cat.
showing that.
It's a one-eyed cat.
Yeah. It's very clear on this one.
Okay, so my next question, you know, when we do conventions and we do these panels and stuff like that, we usually get asked the same questions like, what's your favorite character? And I know people are always curious about that stuff, but I like to delve a little bit deeper. And that is, who would you say, each one of you, was the most influential person in your life? If it's a person that's of note, great. It doesn't have to be. And also, who did you want to be? Like for me, I wanted to be Bruce Springsteen. I always wanted to be Bruce Springsteen, or I wanted to be Tom Jones. It's not unusual. Of course, I always wanted to be Elvis too. Those people, I wanted to be Elvis more than anything. And so this. I mentioned this yesterday, and I mentioned it to everyone. If you haven't seen McCartney 321 on Hulu, it's amazing.
I need to watch that.
He's at that age now where he's ready to just talk about everything and how he felt. And what they do is they have the masters of the original recordings, and they solo. His bass playing blew me away because I know he was the bass player, but what he did was like amazing. Like in songs, you don't realize that the bass of the drums and his bass, they're playing like a country western beat, dong da da dong da da dong, but it's not in a song that you like, wait a minute, that's like, you know, I'm Only Sleeping, but there's like this western beat going on. Anyway, so I recommend that. So who was the most influential person in your life, and who did you want to be? Who did you idolize? Okay, so I'm going to go backwards this time. I'm going to start with Vivian Nixon.
Okay. Man, who did I idolize? Not do.
You can still idolize him because like Bruce Springsteen's still around, and you know I want to be on Broadway.
I'm speaking to my current aspirations, the people that I look to. Yes. You know, obviously, who doesn't want to be Oprah or Michelle Obama? But
yes, I love Michelle Obama.
I love Michelle Obama and Ayesha Curry. Career women with families, and they do it all. That is like my lot in life. That's what I want to accomplish. I want to like have the career.
That must really resonate for you now, given the fact that your hours with your children are so time consuming because they're still young right now.
So young. Yeah, you know, 7 months, 2, and I want to be present, right? I want to be present. I don't want to miss it. Like Bryce said yesterday, I don't want to miss it. So I want to find that balance between pursuing my career, continuing to do that, being a mother, being myself, like, because that gets lost in the sauce. And so I'm trying to get back on her bike. And then, you know, my relationship with my friends and my partner. So those are the people I idolize. What was the other question?
When you were a child, who did you want to be?
No. I wanted to be Michael Jackson.
I get it.
Who
I
didn't
get it.
want to be Michael Jackson?
Totally get it.
Michael
I
Jackson.
wanted to be Michael Jackson in the 1960s, though. Ooh, baby, give me one more chance. Tell you that I love you, baby.
And by the way, you know that musical is about to happen.
It is?
MJ.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Really?
In the works. It's in the works. One of me and James's very close friends was, yeah. Anyway, it's about to happen.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's a little inside information. It's a little inside information for all of you out there. Don't tell anyone.
Yeah.
All right. Bryce, who do you idolize? Who did you want to be? And who is the most influential person in your life?
Yeah, I mean, influential is obviously my parents, but that's such an easy answer that I want to move on past them. So thank you, Mom and Dad. Thank you for the influence. Yeah, I want to shout out like a professor of mine who I think when you're in college, you're kind of in that moment of like, well, what should I do next? And I had a specific professor who sat me down and said, you can do whatever you want, but you have to choose it, and no one else is going to choose it for you. So don't expect somebody out here in the real world to go, hey, I think you should be over here. Or I think you should, I think you should do this. It's up to you to decide. And that was a real like aha moment for me to go, all right, I have to write the story myself. So that was super influential. He also introduced me to an actor that I continue to aspire to be like, and is a theater actor by the name of Bill Irwin.
Oh, yeah. Love Bill Irwin.
And yeah, he's just sort of a singular performer, and I found him in college, and I grew up playing a lot of sports, and I was interested in finding the intersection between athleticism and theater and comedy, and like he is those things for me. And I still aspire to create my own physical comedy in sort of his world. I want to create stuff that I wouldn't get to perform otherwise, that is similar or from a similar language that Bill is drawing from, of silent comedy and language of gesture and that stuff. So that's my aspirational figure. And I think teachers out there, they really have such an impact on people. It's why I love to teach now, is I just know the power of the right comment at the right time. Not that I always get there, but every now and then, a teacher will say the right thing to a student, and you can just see the light sort of come on in their eyes. So that's why I would say my teacher, Professor Cummings at Boston College, was an influential person for me.
Awesome. Thank you. James.
Richard, I missed
yes.
that portion. That's what I missed, the influential person.
Oh, the influential person. Yes.
So quickly, I'll make it fast. Karen McDonald.
Take your time.
Karen McDonald, who is the Academy Director of the Devion Dance Academy. She was one of my first modern teachers, and she's one of the greatest teachers you will ever come across in the history of dance. And she's also somebody who has her feet so firmly on the ground, but her head in the clouds.
Yeah.
She knows me every single day. So I can be in a studio with her. I can come to her with mama drama. It's a blessing and a gift. And like Bryce said, my parents, yeah, for sure, mom, dad, you guys are the best. But Miss McDonald, ooh, you're my guru.
Yeah, that was very sweet. Thank you, Vivian.
Thank you.
Yeah. Back to you, James. What about you?
I had a lot of influence as far as like people who inspired me. My parents, of course, because they were singers and actors, and so I saw it. I was like, oh, it can be done. I know that it's.
I got a text from your mom. James, mom is texting me. Please do not mention my name in conjunction with this show that you are on.
Oops.
Mama, get off the phone. Get off the phone. When you come from a performing family, everybody want to get the spotlight. It's like, well, I'm gonna text somebody too. So no, but I had many influences. I know this is gonna sound crazy. This is gonna sound so stupid. It's like my parents, yay, and there's singers I want to be part of. Like Vivian said, I mean Michael Jackson and Prince. Like when Michael Jackson and Prince came out, I was like, and there's one other guy, Michael Jackson, Prince, and like Morris Day. Like when I saw
Oh,
Purple Rain, I
yes.
was like,
Oh,
I
yeah.
want to dress like that. I want to talk like that. I
Yeah.
want to dance like that.
Mm.
I mean, anybody who could have that effeminate
Oh,
voice,
yo,
yes,
yo.
and women and still throw panties at them. I was like, I want to be whatever that is.
Oh,
but-
yo.
Right.
So,
But the
Check
fun
it out.
the fun thing that really inspired me, there was just a coolness and a smoothness to Bugs Bunny. When I was a kid,
Yeah.
I had Bugs Bunny cartoons memorized. Like in Bryce's situation, my teacher, in order to shut me up, she would basically bribe me. She's like, if you will be quiet, Mr. Iglehart, for the length of the class, I will let you get up and do one of your Bugs Bunny things. And so the class would be over, and at 2:30, she would let me get up and I would entertain the class by doing, What's Opera Doc, which I still know, Rabbit of Seville, which I still
Wow.
know, or the exchange between Bugs and Daffy, the Wabbit season, Duck season. I would do that, and so I would watch that. And I remember a teacher, Mrs. Dopart. I was in elementary school, and I was afraid to sing something, and she was like, "Would Bugs Bunny be afraid?" I was like, "No, Bugs is not afraid of anything." She's like, "Well, think like Bugs. What would Bugs do?" And I got on stage and like did what I thought Bugs would do, and it's just that type of confidence, that type of energy, that type of fearlessness to just do something really made me go, okay, this is something I want to do. I mean, we all have those performers. There are too many performers to mention of who influenced me. I grabbed from so many because I love comedians too. So it's like, I know you shouldn't mention his name, but Cosby, Carlin, Murphy, Robin Williams, Lily Tomlin, John, all the people who would stand up there, because I'm such a conceited person, and Viv knows this is such a wonderful person. You give me a spotlight and I will take the fuck over. So me standing with a spotlight and the microphone by myself just going, I'm like, yes, this is it. So I loved all those people. But when it came to like when I saw Bugs Bunny, I was like, whatever that is, how do I morph that into real life? And
I totally get that. When I said I wanted to be a race car driver, it's because I wanted to be Speed Racer. And every single toy I had, I turned into the Mach 5. I had, back in my day, I had like the Flintstones car. You just pushed yourself with your feet, but I painted it white and put a red with a gold 5 on it for a Mach 5, and I wanted to be racer.
Well, cartoons influenced me because I wasn't a big kid. And I wasn't a fighter. I was a talker. So logic made sense to me. Like things had to make sense. So bullies walking up to you and wanting to fight you for no damn reason. Like, hey, dude, I don't like you. And I'm like, I don't know you. Why don't you like me? This doesn't make any sense. Let's talk this out. Real life didn't make sense to me. But in cartoons, someone could do something to you and you could be smart enough to outsmart them. And I was like, how do I do that in real life? And it's funny. For those of us who are in this business of entertainment, we have to outthink everybody because there's always some producer trying to take your money. There's always some person trying to do you wrong. There's always some actor trying to swing in there. So you as the performer have to be the Bugs Bunny of your life to outthink that situation, to put yourself on the track where you can not only pay your rent, get your food, put clothes on your back, but also still not slap somebody, because if you do, it'll be on Twitter tomorrow. How do you get around these people?
Yeah. I had like the opposite experience in real life as opposed to cartoons. Someone actually dropped an anvil on my head, and that was really it hurt.
Yeah, it really did. It really did. I always keep the help signs with me just in case shit happens.
It hurts.
So that was my influence, really.
That's amazing. I agree. I agree with everything you say. I agree with everything everyone said about your parents being influential. And now I'm going to go to Vivian M.
All right. Well, I mean, my answer isn't going to be too different, because I'm glad that, James, you brought up animation, because I think a lot of my influences were animation and characters, because I remember it was more of an experience than a person. And like Bryce, I also had a teacher. Unfortunately, he literally like disappeared. Like I literally can't find him, because I've been wanting to like go back and be like, you're the one that set me on this direct path that I was on, because it was in third grade, I knew I wanted to go into the arts. Like I knew I wanted to go into cartooning and drawing these animal characters and making things. But there was this weird like rudimentary animation program that my third grade art teacher had us do. And it wasn't like Flash, it wasn't like anything known. So I don't know what the program was, but it was basically like PowerPoint, but like they played everything in succession. And I was able to animate something for the first time. And that was literally the moment I went, this is it. Because even though it was like the crappiest animation ever, it was like basically MS Paint, but animated. Seeing something that I did like move and going through that process and actually like learning the process and being like, whoa, that's what it is. That's what started me on the path of animation. And I guess another teacher that was a big influence on me is I'm also a character designer by trade, and I love character design. And but I used to have some kind of nasty people in my realm of existence that were bad influence, where it was like very stifling. It would be like we'd all be creating characters, you know, when you're growing up, you're creating characters and you're meeting people who also create characters. And I unfortunately had somebody in my life who was very like, no, my characters are like that. You can't do anything like that. And it was like very like I felt like my creativity was in a box. And I had this professor at SBA, the school I went to in New York City. And I told him I want to be a character designer. And he was like, all right, I will give you, like, he kind of specialized me in character design because there wasn't really a character design course. So he had worked at Disney. His name is Mario Menjivar. And he was a Disney animator. And so he was very no nonsense. He pushed you to be the best you could be. And it was amazing. And I really appreciated that. And when I was drawing a character design, he was like, all right, you need to push this shape. You need to push this. You need to push that. And I went, well, if I do that, it's going to look a little bit like something that, you know, someone I know draws like that. And he was like, you're never going to be a designer if you have hangups like that. You're never going to be a designer if you're afraid to do something that already exists or could look like something that already exists, because like it's never going to look like that, you know, unless you're drawing that character. But even that character, it's like when you redesign or reboot.
That's a famous I was gonna say that's a famous writing thing, whereas you like, you know, there's like 7 basic storylines in sitcom, for example. And we've seen them all. Someone gets amnesia, you know, something like that. But it's okay because it's the story, it's the telling of folk stories, really. That it's how you tell them and how you present them that make them different. You can see what the storyline is, but it's how you present it, which is what is uniquely Vivian. You know, that's what's unique.
Exactly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And that, I remember that though, like it was validating, you know, because it was like, you're right. Yeah. And he was very just, and that was something I needed to hear, because I wasn't hearing that from the community I was in at the time. And so hearing this person who I looked up to as an artist and as a mentor, free me from that, you know, from that self-imposed, like, stifling, completely opened it. And I'm unafraid to design whatever I want and do what I want. And so I definitely thank him for that. And that was a huge influence. But yeah, like animation and characters and everything, like that was my escape growing up and everything. So it was a huge influence on my sense of humor and on everything I do. But as far as who I wanted to be, it's hard to say, you know, because there's so many amazing creators now. But when I was really young, it was just Walt Disney. Like I was like, this guy is the most famous animator, most famous like creator of a brand and of a world, and he has a, you know, like a theme park dedicated to his creations. And like I was like, that's what I want to do.
We have a surprise for you, Vivian. Roll the freezer in. Roll the freezer in.
You found him.
You see, surprise guest. We promised surprise guests.
The one thing I will say, you know, that I don't aspire to be as far as Walt Disney, though, is that he was as amazing of a visionary as he was, and as much respect as I pay to him, he was an intense boss. Like, he was like a really intense visionary. People didn't always have fun working for him.
Yeah.
I don't want to be that kind of creator that people are afraid to work with me, or don't enjoy working on things, because there's some interesting history with Walt Disney.
Yeah.
I'll say that.
Scared when I bring diapers to my writing sessions with Vivian, just because.
You know, you're just gonna shake. All right, that leaves me to you, Brandon.
No, I'm sorry.
Tell me who your influences were, are, and who you wanted to be. Well, who did you want to be like, and all that stuff.
Oh, hands down. Well, as a kid, I always wanted to be Willy Wonka, or to get whatever he like. I saw there's a Mr. Hershey. Like, I hope he's appreciating that. But I was very influenced by Jack Plotnick. Actually, in high school, I discovered Jack Plotnick, who's actually in this series later on down the road. And
His book is amazing. I give it to everyone. New Thoughts is amazing. I went to see him speak. That's amazing.
He's so great. And I discovered him and John Waters around the same time. I was about 17 years old. I was raised on Family Guy in South Park, and then I discovered queer comedy and this quick zinging, like this tanginess to humor I had never seen in like the 2.5 Men genre that I was spoon fed. And I was like, oh, this could be sharp and gross and sexy and beautiful and wretched. And
That's the name of my biography, by the way. You just titled my biography. Disgusting, sharp, and sexy.
Yeah. So and then it was shortly after that we got Comcast. This was like in 2005, 2006, and then then that had Logo, and then I discovered all the just gay comedy, and for the first time I was just sitting in front of the TV. If I heard my one of my siblings come home, I change it, but it's like, oh, there's a weird world out there in cities like San Francisco and LA where this kind of humor, it breeds and thrives. And so I just I guess I was just moved by that type of humor that you don't see a lot in mainstream TV. Anyways.
And who was your main influence?
My main influence, I just thought my whole life probably my dad. Even though I was exposed to a lot of mainstream stuff, none of it was too like mind bending. My dad always pushed me to do what I love. If I wasn't enjoying something, I didn't like karate. So like, all right, let's get out of karate. Let's soccer. Oh, this is bullshit. All right, we're getting out of soccer. He just said, I don't care what you do for a living, just be good at it, and
that's a good thing for a father and a mother to say. It really is. Whatever you want to do, just work at it, or play hard is what I always say.
He always said work hard, play hard. Ever since I was a kid, I was always work hard, play hard. And we would go to Great America if we did all of our chores and like got good grades that week. And so
Brandon, are you from the Bay Area?
Yeah, man, Livermore.
Holy crap! You said Great America. That's Santa Clara. I understand. I'm from Hayward, California, baby.
I was born in Hayward.
Kaiser Hospital. That's like Marriott's Great America. That's like my home, baby.
Yeah, it used to be really good. I don't know.
It's not because it's
you guys do a show together.
It became Paramount's Great America, then like something else. It's so weird when you drive down 101. You're like, what the hell happened? So
No,
I get it.
It's no longer what it was. We should do a show together called Here.
Really?
I know.
We're from here.
We could do it right now.
Yeah, it's great. Is it? Bryce is also from the Bay as well.
That's right. I've been to Great America several times.
Yes, baby.
I had no idea.
James is all as well.
Oh my God.
Bay Area 925.
Yeah, baby. 415-410, baby.
410. I was a 9-to-5er.
Thank you. Okay.
5.
Yes.
How about you, Georgie? Who were your influences, and who did you want to be?
Goodness, I've been so engrossed in listening to everyone's amazing answers, I forgot to think of my own. but definitely, like, my mommy and daddy, like, they're my they're still my best friends. They're just the most amazing humans on earth, and it's actually hard. I'm going to stop talking about them because I'm going to cry because I miss them so much, and obviously because of the pandemic I haven't been able to see them. But yeah, they've obviously made me who I am today. I always wanted to be the next Britney Spears, and I think I actually got that when I left school. Who's most likely to be the next Britney Spears, and it was me. And now I'm 33 and I'm still not a famous pop star, so that didn't work out. But and then definitely Mel Brooks. Like my mom said to me, it was actually a video we did together. It was when we were when I was Vivian Delamprix, a prosperous prostitute, and I said I need that Jesus dick, and I'm like running to this church. It was the first time that my brain went.
That's what I heard. Yes.
My brain went, oh my God, I don't think my mother's gonna approve of this, because I feel like
your mother, James's mom, just texted me.
My mom, oh God, like,
James's mom just texted me, James, who is that fake British accented person you're hanging out with? And how dare she take my Lord's name in vain?
I remember I was in that bit where I'm stomping to the church. My mum, after watching that amazing Brandon Rogers video, my mum said that she felt like I was like the female Mel Brooks, and I was like, oh, and I know it's coming from my mother. It's not like the still, but okay. So yeah, Mel Brooks, and then Brandon. Like I'm so like honored to have like a best friend that like I'm also just like, I've always said like I would love to just be in his brain for one day, because he's just like I don't throw genius around in like to willy-nilly, like Brandon's just like every day I'm around him I'm like inspired, and so he's like a definite like an inspiration always.
I'm inspired off of her. She makes everything that I can do look so impossible, because
what are you talking about?
She talks me up, but she has way more energy than I do and gets way more things done throughout the day than I do. And
that's a talent. Getting things done is a talent, that's for sure.
I do. I get things done, but I don't know if they're worthy of doing.
Find out later. You'll find out later. As Lucille Ball said, you want to get something done, you give it to a busy person.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
All right, I have lunch.
And of course, my friend Jaden, who was your influence, and who did you idolize? Who did you want to be like? Or
well, I can't say that I have just one influence that's been there in person for me, but I did have a teacher, much like James and Bryce, that sort of gave me an outlet for my ventures and creative moods. And he had this thing at the end of I think it was every Thursday, we'd have about 40 minutes in the class in my sophomore year of a thing called Cafe 46. And it was like an SNL style sketch venue. And anybody could just go up and do whatever. And I'd always bring one of my puppet characters, and I'd do stand up as a character, or I'd write my own songs in character and sing as them. And that was really fun and let me explore the different ranges that I had. Entertainment wise, I'm sure as many may attest from my Instagram and Twitter, I'm a big Simpsons fan, and I've always liked the writing style and the voice range of all the actors. And the work I do in YouTube with my puppet characters is sort of a town that all my characters live in, and that was sort of inspired by the Simpsons style structure of keying in on different secondary characters and exploring the lives of the vast town, which doesn't really happen a lot in sitcoms. You know, it's usually the household and the friends of the household, but this is sort of wider in its aspect. As far as voiceover work goes, Simpsons inspired me a lot, but also, much like James, the work of Mel Blanc was certainly influential as well.
Vivian tried to get him on our show, but he
wouldn't. I think he's busy doing something else. Yeah, I also heard Disney was he's also kind of.
Oh, Walt, have you thought? That's our big surprise guest, and if he doesn't thought in the next few minutes, sorry, Vivian.
Personally, I think Walt should have quit when he was ahead, but that's just me. uh, yeah, Mel Blanc was a big influence of mine. I always liked the way he could slip into conversation with himself as Bugs and Daffy, and I've always enjoyed imitating his characters. And really, a lot of voice actors, I like to study their range and the differences and nuances that makes one character one way and the other one another way. And lastly, I guess being a puppeteer, Henson was a big influence, and I've been lucky to have worked with the Henson Company on a few things. He was Jim Henson himself was, from what I've learned throughout the years, was an ideal boss, and that's something that I'd like to be. Performance aside, he was someone that could negotiate well without stepping on toes or putting pressure on people or doing all sorts of negative actions that we've pretty much grown far too accustomed to in this day and age. But just being a sort of a visionary that was positive and respectful is something that I look up to.
Those are wonderful. Those
Thank
are
you.
really wonderful. Those are really good idols. So we're coming to our last question, but I wanted to throw my 2 cents in about this question. Both, all of you touched on something within my life, and that resonated with everything that you all expressed. And that was, like James, I was very small when I was a kid. I was little, and like I didn't even go through puberty till I was like 17, which was like really, I was 4'11" when I was, 18 years old. It was like, and I had a growth spurt years later, but I became an I'll show you person. You tell me I can't do something, I'll show you. It's a character that we all create, and excuse my language because I know we don't really swear on the show, but I called it the little fucker character because it's like, I'll show you. You're not going to tell me I'm just this little kid shaking my fist at the world. And so when I got to high school, I got into musical theater as, it's a senior program, but I got in as a freshman, and I couldn't wait because we were going to do Bye Bye Birdie. And I wanted to audition for Conrad Birdie. And the teacher said, no, you're only right for Randolph McAfee. And Randolph McAfee was a little kid, right? And so I said, okay, I'll show you. And so I went home and I locked myself in that room, and I learned blue suede shoes over and over. 1 for the money, 2 for the show, 3 to get ready now, go cat go, but don't you, right? And so the day of the auditions came, and the whole school, it's auditioning for this musical is there, and they go, all right, Richard, you're gonna be Randolph McAfee. And I'm just like sitting there pouting. And this teacher said, well, what's your problem? And I'm like, I don't think it's right. I should be able to audition for Conrad Birdie. And all the kids, like at a scene of an 1980s movie, it's like, all right, you can try one. I got up there and I moved and danced and did this number like you. And so I was cast not only as Randolph McAfee, but also as Conrad Birdie in multiple casts. And then from then on, I played Danny Zuko in Grease, and I played, Pappy Yoakum and Pappy Yoakum in and General Bull Moose in Little Abner. And the reason I bring all that up is because that teacher that gave me that shot, Park McAllister, and tried to find him also, Viv. He died, so I couldn't find him.
Oh.
He said to me, I was wrong, but I'll never see you again. And he said, I want my partner to manage you. And when I went to UCLA, he wrote a letter that said, in all my 30 years of teaching here, I've never come across someone with the talent of Richard. And I got into UCLA with a scholarship in theater arts based on that. When I went to graduate, he invited me over to his apartment. And I don't know if you guys know that beautiful castle on Fountain and Crescent Heights, that beautiful building that's there. He lived there, and he was having a dinner party, and Estelle Getty was there. And at the time, Estelle Getty was just about to leave on tour of Torch Song Trilogy. And here it was. This was my dream, right? That was when I walked out to do Oliver. And Estelle comes up to me and she says, Park McAllister says you're incredible and you look right. And if you are a good actor, we are casting the role of David for the touring company, Torch Song Trilogy. And I'm giving you 2 tickets. I want you to come see it. And I want you to meet Harvey afterwards. I'm like, yes, it's happening. It's happening. And I went to the play, and it was right after Harvey was still in makeup. He comes out and he says, Estelle says you're wonderful. You look wonderful. Here, read this scene. And so we did this scene, and he had just finished the show. And we read the scene. He goes, great. We leave on tour on June 15th. I'm like, yes. I was 17 and I didn't turn 18 until July 29th. Yes, that's right. My birthday's coming up, everyone. That's this week. That's the whole point of my story. That's the whole point of my story. No, and so my parents, as I love them, they said, no, you know, you got into UCLA. You're not going on tour. We're not gonna sign a month-long emancipation. And so it went on the road without me. And but it was Park McAllister to this day, who I will never forget, believed in me so wholeheartedly. And that's a teacher. And I find over and over again that it's teachers, which is why I decided to start teaching. They sometimes give you things that you can't get from your family or your friends. They just see you, as they say. Okay, there's the end of that. Oh, and about Mel Brooks, my friend. I did a movie called Summer School that Carl Reiner directed. And for my influences, I said Tom Jones and all these people. So my parents sat me in front of a television set from a very young age. And to me, that was influential. So it sounds like that's not very much parenting, but I love TV so much. And I loved Gilligan's Island, and I loved the Brady Bunch, and I loved Get Smart. I wanted to be in those worlds because that was my escapism from feeling, less than. I was little and small, and I had this voice. So if you think this is low, I mean, it sounds like James's voice when I'm talking, but as a little kid, it was even higher. It was up here, but because of that, I ended up working. I played Gilligan to Alan Hale Jr.'s Skipper. I met Don Adams. I worked with all the Brady kids. So that was my world. But Mel Brooks was Carl Reiner's best friend, and Carl Reiner directed me in Summer School. And I just was really dear friends with Carl my entire career. And I would see Mel, and he would tell me such amazing stories about Mel. And he would say things to me like, "You're a lot like Mel." And I say, "How is that?" And he said, "Because you were always joking. We don't know what's serious, because be careful, because one time after your show of shows, we went to the Carnegie Deli, and Mel was in the middle of telling one of his stories, and he starts going, and we thought he was doing a bit, and we're laughing. And so I looked at him, and his eyes were watering his blue. He was choking on a piece of corned beef, and there we were punching Mel Brooks in the back. All right, so this is our last question. And before we say the last question, I would like to thank everyone who has joined our stream today here on Lively, on the Streamly channel. The Streamly channel is now up and running, and so there'll be other panels here in the future with signings. So please subscribe, click that link button and subscribe to the Streamly channel. And also please, if you haven't already, subscribe to Vivzy Pop's channel on YouTube. So we want to thank you for your support and taking our little show to your heart, because you've all been so kind and generous to us all. And for that, we're eternally grateful. So what my question is this: tell us something about yourselves that nobody else knows. A little fact about yourself that would surprise us. A fact about yourself that would surprise us. For me, is that I wasn't always this handsome. And it just happened after I grew from 4'11". What a surprising fact about me. It's a tough one. Well, I always say this. A lot of people don't know that I was the green grapes in the Fruit of the Loom commercials. That was one of the things about me that people
No, I
don't
knew.
know.
I could recognize it.
You did not. You did not. That's not true. So now I'm going to work this way. Now, my friend Jaden, you get to answer some fact that would surprise us, something about yourself, something that you might be into, a hobby that would, a skydiver. What's something that would shock and surprise us?
Gee, I don't know. I really don't know. There's all sorts of random things I could just throw out.
Throw one out. Let's
Not
be random.
Particularly interesting. I like cracking backs, and I know how to crack backs pretty well.
That's great.
That's one thing. Can I say somebody that I've met that was completely random?
Yes, you can say whatever you want. This is your space.
I met Bobby Brown once during a music video shoot, and I got there early, and he showed up afterwards, and we sort of overlapped in space there. And so I'm sitting on a couch with Bobby Brown, and he asked me for fish taco recommendations. So I gave him that.
That's a random fact. I like that.
That's something that happened. What else about me? What do you want to know? I don't know
I
what
think
else
that's
can
great.
say.
I think that's great. Give me just one
There's
thing.
like a lot that I can say.
I know,
it's
but
not on
it's
the
like
top
if
of
you
my
say,
head.
yeah, you said like, well, I was looking more like I killed someone once, but that's okay.
I mean, I could say that, but you want to hear it?
No, I don't think so. No.
Okay, good.
Okay.
I definitely did that.
Another random fact I just thought about because you just reminded me when I was doing Oliver that I was talking about earlier, they said, now listen up, kids. Lucille Ball is coming to see the show. She's going to be front row center. So you better all be on your show game tonight. And so we were all excited. And you saw this like purple hair in the front row, and it was Lucille Ball. And we, after the show, they said, Miss Ball would like to come back and meet all you kids. So line up. And so we all stood there, and she came back, and she came in. She was in a house dress with very red, purplish, violet hair. And she looked at us and she went, you kids were marvelous. I'm like, oh, I guess it was this little smoker breath, little smoker voice there. It was like, but this is my thought. And for all of my performer friends, you know that moment where someone that you've watched your entire life is watching you, that you go, oh my God, Lucille Ball, who I watched on I Love Lucy over and over and over again, is watching me right now. I felt the same way about Mel Brooks because I knew Mel would see Summer School, the Carl director. I think, wow, it's like I'm Blazing Saddles and all of them. It's like, okay, enough about me. Let's go on to Georgie, you, then Brandon.
Oh my God.
You're not really British.
I'm like, I don't know what to say.
Okay. Something that I know.
Something that a little fact about you that we might not know that we'd find kind of interesting about you. Not that we don't find interesting.
I'm deathly afraid of large objects underwater. When I can't go, or any object underwater, I can't, if there's branches or a swimming pool with a vacuum, I have to take the vacuum out of the pool.
I did not know that.
Yeah, there we go.
There you go.
And like,
Boy, you were gonna hate your birthday present.
if I was a plane wreckage, if I was a plane in an ocean and everyone survived, I would be more horrified of when after the plane submerges, those few moments when it's just under me right there. And
Ooh.
that's more horrifying than just being stranded out in or getting eaten by a shark, other than the shark being another object that's under the water. So that's
an interesting fact. That's really interesting.
I will never go into an ocean, or I use very few lakes.
Ooh, I don't like lakes because you step in that marshy stuff and it gets between your toes and you go, is this supposed to be?
Now,
You don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
should I?
A plane should buy you.
And a plane might bite you. A plane might bite you, Jaden said.
They didn't say.
He said a plane might bite you.
It have. Let me tell you.
Georgie, what about you? Did you come up with something?
No, I was like saying to him, I was like, should I say this? Should I say I lost my virginity at 21. I was a late bloomer. If that's a fun fact.
Did you find it? Did you find it again?
I know. No, I still haven't found it. If let me know.
Laying around.
Yeah, I breathe fire. I don't know if anyone here knows.
Fire? You're a fire breather?
Yeah, I'm a fire breather. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And
that's cool.
I do it like as I'm jumping into splits, so it's like a
Well, maybe that's why it took till you were 21.
exactly, yeah.
Want to get burned?
Where they got that backdrop.
That's right. That's a very interesting little tidbit. How about you, Bryce?
Let's see. A fun fact that nobody knows. When I was growing up, my best friend was Brazilian, so I became obsessed with Brazil, and I visited it several times. So for all our fans in Brazil, oi, tudo bem? Eu falo pouquinho de português. I love Portuguese.
It sounded a little Yiddish. Oi to the bay. It sounds like a Yiddish rapper. Oi to the bay.
So I speak Portuguese, or a little bit of it, and I guess I don't know. That's my fun fact. Deeply scared of anything. I know there's something I'm not thinking of, but I don't mind lakes. I enjoy them, and I've never had an airplane under me, so I probably would be terrified of that too.
Yes, that's very good. How about you, James?
Some people know this, but most people don't. I have this weird love of country music. I mean, I love Broadway and hip hop and R&B and gospel, and that's my thing. But there's something about country music that used to get me when I was a kid. I think it comes from in the 80s, there weren't many brothers on TV. So the brothers I did see, I really gravitated towards. But when you just turn on TV, there's the Dukes of Hazzard. You don't know that flag might be disrespectful to your family until you get older. When you first see it, it's just the General Lee. And it was something about, hearing, that song. It's just the good old boys. It's like, so between that and like Kenny Rogers and like Smokey and the Bandit, like I love Smokey and the Bandit 1 and 2. 3 sucks 1 and 2. Like the country world, I was like, this is so cool. Not realizing they did not want me. I mean, they want me now, but back then they was like, none of y'all allowed. I didn't know that because I was only watching TV. There's only a few things I'm afraid of. I am like Brandon. I can swim, and I learned how to swim because survival. I don't swim for fun. I don't swim just to be kicking it. I swim to not drown. And I'm that my big fear is I don't like bridges because I don't ever want to go off of one in a car. I'm that brother who would try to open up the door and try to fly out. At least I know I can dive into the water and swim away. I can't be in the car when it hits the water. And I had I'll make it quick. I had a great moment. One of my heroes was in the audience. Whoopi Goldberg was in the audience at Aladdin, and I have watched her from her Broadway show to Color Purple to Guinan on Star Trek because I'm a nerd, I'm a big Star Trek fan. So Whoopi Goldberg being in the audience was like crazy to me. And I get backstage, and she's talking to people, and when I get back there, she's on her hands and knees doing this to me, and I just lose it. I am crying, and she goes, in that Whoopi voice, what's wrong, baby? And I said, you don't understand. From the moment I was in college, I saw her show on HBO. It was her one-woman show. And I went, I gotta do that. I don't know what that is, but whatever that is, it's a melding of stand-up comedy and theater. And how do you put those together? And she did it so effortlessly. And she was so sweet and so nice. And she's till this day, she is the nicest person to me. But I'll never forget when I found out she was in the audience. I don't think I've ever performed that hard in my life. I was like, I am going to give I might die tonight, but at least I know Whoopi Goldberg saw me. You know what I'm saying? So that was that's it. Country music, me and Brandon will definitely survive if we're together in water, and Whoopi Goldberg being there,
I'm a huge Johnny Cash, Hank Williams Sr. fan.
Yes.
Hank Williams, hear the lonesome willow cry.
It's the stories that country music tells. And I even like the guys today, like my man today is Chris Stapleton. I mean, he's a throwback to like,
oh my gosh, that beard jacket here,
the soulfulness, but the stories he tells are just, awesome. So when my wife gets in the car and she accidentally hears, Disney's Country Bear Jamboree, I try my best to take it out before she gets in the car, but sometimes it's there. So.
They got rid of the Country Bear Jamboree at Disney.
Not in Orlando.
Not in Orlando.
Still there.
But you know what? Orlando also got our Wheel of Progress. Used to be at Disneyland, and now it's got it's a great world.
Hey, yo, I use that genie influence every time I step into a park, baby. I'm like, hey, I'm the genie. Like, oh, you want to step right in? I sure do want to step right in. Yes, please.
Vivian N.
Why?
Yeah,
Names. M or N?
N.
yeah, I thought you said M.
No, I said I can't
Sorry.
do that either. This is an ongoing thing. Which one's Viv? Which one's Vivian? I said, but now I realize that M and N sound alike. So I'm just gonna have to go with Vivian Nixon. I have to go full name.
You don't
Go ahead,
nickname.
Vivian.
Viv, do you do like Viv? What's happening? Viv M.
Viv,
Oh,
Viv-
I mean, I go by Viv a lot. So if you want to do it like that, that works too.
I'm
So
thinking-
interesting to have two Vivians of the same.
I know it is.
Vivi.
So Vivian Nixon, tell us something we don't know about you. And since we've added fears, I like that. Did you have a fear?
I like
Do I have a fear? I don't think I do.
I fear nothing.
Yeah.
I fear no man.
Mel Zen, something you don't know and fear.
Yeah.
I am deathly claustrophobic. Elevators without glass, can't do them. TJ Maxx.
Can it be a wine? Can it be a wine glass?
Oh, you can do wine glass any day.
Okay, good.
As long as there's wine in the glass. So like an elevator in TJ Maxx that's like slow and hot.
Uh,
I cannot do it. I'm sweating. I'm losing it. I can't do submarines. I cannot do rooms without windows. I am just very claustrophobic.
Viv, that explains so much.
Tell me.
Okay, Viv and I did Memphis together, and
Yeah.
we had to rehearse in this room and what is now the Lyric Theater, which had no air conditioning and no windows. And like
Were you
every
freaked
20
out?
minutes, Viv would leave the room. And she'd be like, I'm sorry, y'all, I gotta go. And we'd be like, damn, Viv just gotta go. And we never understood. Now
Yeah.
that, because you would be so adamant, like, y'all, I gotta go. And she would just leave. And we were like, leave Viv alone. She needs a moment. There were no, and we all kept going, why are we in this dark ass room? We had no windows and no air conditioning. So we were dying. And these people were dancing their asses off. Viv, I will slap Sergio when I see him for you. I am so sorry.
For many reasons, not just for that. You need to slap him for what he did to me like a few months, like 2 months ago. That's what you need to slap him
Oh,
for.
don't worry. The boy still calls me Jay. It's been 10 years. I'll slap the shit out of him. Don't worry about a thing.
Vivian Nixon, is that also the little known fact and the fear all in one?
That was a conglomeration.
Conglomeration, yeah.
You want something more.
And well, it's funny you mentioned that about the buildings that James was just talking about, because very recently I was at a medical building in Santa Monica, where it was one of those buildings where it's all like the windows are to the outside of the building and there's nothing in between. And the whole thing is fluorescent lights and everything. I said, oh my God, this feels like a New York building. And you know what I mean by that? It's like, where does light come in here if you're not near the windows? And it's all that fluorescent light. And I worked at Sound One in New York. And, I was doing the same thing that Vivian would be doing. Like we get a 5-minute break, but we were on like the 23rd floor. And so 5 minutes isn't even enough time to get down to the 23rd floor to step out into gum. And my whole thing about New York has always been, you'll see this everywhere. You'll just be walking along and there'll just be a puddle of something that you're assuming is water that you look, there's no air conditioning. What is that puddle? But there are just random puddles in New York. Am I wrong?
No, you're right. And the truth is, New York is so gross. It's so amazing. And
Yes.
New York City
It's like
is why we love it the most.
it's like scaffolding everywhere all the time. Everywhere.
All the time.
And it's like, I didn't see these scaffoldings everywhere, but now it's just scaffolding and wooden plank walls with built.
Tax write-off. Like they're doing something.
No, they're not doing anything. They're just putting shit up. Their scaffolding has been there for 25 years. They ain't built not a
Right.
And what's funny is California people come to New York, and we try our best to keep our California attitudes. We try our best. But there is a moment where we see something that is so nasty on the street, and you always know it's a person in California because they're like,
Yes, exactly.
And New York people go, oh, no, just go past it. And California people go, no, how come nobody's questioning this? How come nobody's talking about this?
In California, we call it the subway. In New York, the things I've seen on subways, I just cannot even imagine anymore. Oh man, I've seen some really scary things.
Something that people don't know about me, and it's actually very embarrassing. So
yes, tell us.
So I'm from Los Angeles, and it's not a walking town, right? And I went to Fordham, and I don't do cold, and I don't do snow. And so when I moved to New York, I was at Fordham, and I didn't understand the concept of walking anywhere. So when there was something 5 blocks away, I got in a cab. I did. I got in a cab. I didn't walk in New York City probably until like 2 years in, because it just wasn't a part of my understanding.
But a New York city block is much shorter than an LA city block. That's the difference.
That
Because
is
you
true.
get from, a New York block, you're like, what? I just it's 23 blocks down that way.
It's
I'm
nothing.
Like, 23, it's nothing. 23, but
It's nothing. It's so nice to walk.
Alan Alda is a Fordham graduate. Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah. Great. And so last but not least, my friend Vivian, tell us something we don't know about you. Some little fact that
Oh
we
man.
find interesting.
I mean, I thought of a bunch. Well, it's so funny. Everyone else's answers was like reminding me of things of myself. Like I don't think it's that fun of a fact that I also really love country music. My favorite artist in there is Casey Musgraves, who's also bringing that old styles back. I do have an experience with, she's amazing, by the way. She's one of the few musicians that I've ever been a huge fan of that, I gave her a gift and she actually shouted me out on stage. So that was really amazing. That was a couple of years ago. I think that was in 2018. I visited New York. I saw her at the Apollo, which was also an amazing theater. And she gave me a little shout out, and it's actually on my channel. I got it on camera, which I was very lucky to have. So I guess that's a fun fact in itself. But the bigger one, I think, relevant to this show that I think is fun to know about me is that when I was younger, I was supremely like, I don't know if prudish is the right word, but I was just like sheltered. Like my family has never been very uptight. It wasn't really a house that had a lot of cursing. My dad my dad definitely has a colorful vocabulary, but I didn't really hear it. It was always in Spanish. My father is from El Salvador, and so when he would curse and when my parents would curse, it was usually in Spanish. So I know the Spanish curses very well, but we didn't have a very like loud or cursing household, and I wasn't allowed to watch things like The Simpsons or South Park or anything vulgar. So I actually grew up. It wasn't until like late middle school that I would also stay away from it. Like even when things said God, like I was like, it's too much language. Like I remember really vividly, I loved Britney Spears, and her first album has the song Lucky. And there's like the part in it where the newscaster's like, oh my God, here she comes. I would turn down the volume just to avoid that. I don't know why. I thought it was such a like, oh no, that's too adult, that's too much. So I was just obscenely sheltered. And then one night at a friend's birthday party, I was staying with my best friend at the time, and her older sister, and we were having like a birthday party, and her older sister, like we were up really late, and her older sister put on South Park, and it was the first time I had seen it, and it just changed my world. entirely. I thought it was the funniest thing. And I don't know if it just hit at the right time or I just saw the right episode or what, but it just changed. I was like, oh my gosh, this has person. It was super, sexual and all that stuff. And I was like, that was funny though. Like, that was really funny. It can be funny. And so that night, like, it just completely changed things. And that was back in the time of video iPods. So I would buy an iTunes gift card. And we only had one computer with internet at the time. So it was my mom's computer. So I would use that iTunes to buy music and to buy things. And then I would put it on a floppy disk and take it up to my computer to put it on my library. So when I would buy South Park episodes, I would use, and with iTunes gift card, I'd get like $10. And that was back in every episode was like $2. And so I'd pick and choose episodes that I thought would be good, because I had to be very selective. I was like, I can only buy, like 4 of them or whatever. And so I would pick random episodes of South Park and then download them and put them on a floppy disk and then delete the files off the computer and go back because my mom, didn't allow the show. So that was how I sneaked into the world of adult animation. And now it's like one of my favorite, like I love it, Futurama.
Oh yeah.
F is for Family,
Family Guy.
South Park, Family Guy, and
Yeah.
American Dad, Rick and Morty,
Beavis and
all of it.
Butthead.
I love
That- Beavis and Butthead
Yeah.
is my show.
The
I
Simpsons.
love
The
Beavis.
Simpsons actually the one I haven't seen. I'm getting introduced to it now, but like Futurama was the one that I had seen of the Matt Groening shows. But Simpsons is very
thank you,
good. I just haven't
Vivian,
seen it
for
all.
sharing that.
Yeah, most
That
people
is
wouldn't know
awesome.
because
That-
now
I've read-
I curse like a sailor.
Yeah. I've read your work.
Obscenely adult.
Oh, wait a second. James's mom.
Mama, get off.
James,
Mama, get off.
James, get out
Mama,
of there right now if you want your soul saved.
Mama, do you want the garage door or not? Do you want the garage door or not? This is paying for the garage door. Yeah, I bet the Texans will stop now.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But look at now your mom's gonna see Vivian's little baby. Oh.
Oh.
Vivian, introduce us. You're muted.
Oh, you're muted.
Yeah, so it's past 12, so I'm back on mommy duty. This is
Yes.
Asia.
So welcome. Do you want to tell us who's most influential in your life?
Who's most influential in your life? Can you say? Can you say?
Hi.
Grace,
Yay.
Yay.
So we want to thank everyone, and I want to thank all of you for indulging these questions today. I had a blast learning more about all of you, and I'll let you know if I'm going to unfriend you or not, or friend you based on these answers. But those of us that are still going to be doing some signings, some live stream today, please go around real quickly and plug it. So James, are you doing a signing today?
Not today, but it soon, very soon.
Okay, you'll figure it out. And will it be on Instagram Live? Or,
Probably.
Probably. It's great. Vivian Nixon, do you have a signing or have you done your signing?
No, I can't do a signing today, but I will update you guys.
Perfect. Sounds good. How about you, Brandon and Georgie? You're muted, my friend.
Oh, you're muted.
I am going to have a little bit of a nibble and a coffee, and then I'll hop right on to the IG Live, and I'm gonna be doing your great idea yesterday, Richard, of reading and shouting out the preferred comments and names. It's gonna be a ball. So yeah, I'd say about an hour or less after we click off of here, I will be on my Instagram Live, and I will be reading all of the preferred comments.
Excellent. Georgie,
Around
She might
and wave in the background. No, I don't have any signings yet, but
okay.
if you guys want me to sign things, I will do it for you eventually.
How about you, Jaden?
This is going to be a bummer, but not today.
Not
no.
today. You'll let us know though.
Yes.
Good. Bryce, how about you?
5 p.m. today, I'm hopping on IG Live, and I'll be doing the same, shouting people out, saying hi,
Great.
giving
And
you some
that's-
Stolas love.
That's Pacific Standard Time.
Correct. Pacific
Got
PST.
Got it. I will be doing an Instagram live today. What I did yesterday is what I'm going to do today is that I am going to, I'll show you the picture you ordered. It gets kind of boring to just watch us sign. So I want to make sure that everyone that has been kind enough to purchase our pictures gets a shout out. So that's what Brandon and I will also be doing is we'll be saying hi to you as we go through the list of our orders. So once again, thank you so much. If you want to order any pictures, if you didn't get your picture yet, you want it autographed by one of these amazing artists, you can go to streamly.com and go to the Hell of a Boss signing. Or if it's in any of your IGs, it's in like my link is to the bio if you still want to order an autograph. And I believe that Streamly is going to leave our shops open for I think another week, right? We will leave them open for another week. So if you don't get them this weekend, you can still get pictures signed for the rest of the week. I want to thank everyone. I want to thank Brandon and Vivian for your amazing creation and for allowing me to be part of all my of this amazing cast. Thank you, everyone, and stay tuned for Streamly Live's future broadcasts with their other guest panels. Thanks for watching.
Richard.